Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to another episode of The Cider Drinker. Today, after a little brief hiatus, I am back with the Henry Weston's Cider Company. Well, I say a brief hiatus. About a year ago, I did their Rosie's Pig. I think it was their raspberry like cider pop, like infused cider. But for an actual traditional Western cider, I think it's been about 5 years since I've done my last one. I think it was their Vintage Perry that I did my last actual traditional cider review of theirs. So today, I believe I got this from Lidl, or it could, well, Lidl or Aldi, one of the two. It was quite a while ago, but I'm doing a bottle of their Cloudy Sparkling Cider. Now, they already have a cloudy cider of sorts with their Old Rosie Scrumpy. Well, at least it used to be called Old Rosie Cloudy Cider. Don't know whether it is still or not, but if it is, it'll be interesting to see how this one differs from the Old Rosie. And, well, they both come in 500ml bottles, as you can clearly see. Now, the difference is that, well, actually, there's not really a difference because they also both come in 2-litre flagons. I believe you can also get them in bag-of-the-box varieties as well. They'll be down in the description below as normal. The one difference is that this one is 7.5% ABV, whereas Old Rosie Scrumpy, or Old Rosie Cloudy as it's called now, is 7.3%. So a 0.2% difference in the ABV, but is that going to change how it tastes? Well, obviously this has had a little bit of an image change. I would say not too recently, but I do like the nice traditional look of it. You know, very eye-catching and all that. So yeah, good. You don't actually get a lot of text on the back here. It just says, a traditional dry, cloudy cider with a full-bodied and fruity flavour. To enjoy it at its best, invert gently. Which, with with Old Rosie, yes, there is bits of sediment in the bottom there, as you can clearly see there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to invert gently. There we go, and then turn it over again. In fact, you know what? Let's do it a couple more times, shall we? Just to get the full effect of the scrumpy. It's not even a scrumpy, it's just a cloudy cider. So, still sediment on the bottom there. Don't know why, it's not been laying down or anything, but there you go. If I give it a bit of a shake up, there you go. Give it a little bit of a shake, and that releases all the sediment. There we go. Right, let's try and invert that again. There we go, that's more like it. Now, it's a good job, it's a good thing to actually see sediment in these sorts of ciders, so, oh well, we'll see how it tastes. Let's get it open and see what I make of it. There we are, as I thought it was going to be. Sparkling. Definitely smells dry on the bottle there. Yeah, nice wooden oak coming from the bottle there. Right, well, let's get this all poured out. Let's say 500 mils, 7.5%, so, you know, this one is pulling no punches. There we go, just at the bottom there. Swirl it about, let's get all the goodness in. There we go. Now, as I've said before, I know some people don't like sediment in their ciders. That's fair game for me. I love a bit of sediment, me, so, well, you've already seen the colour, but yeah, there you go. It is completely opaque. Can't see you guys through that. Nice, well, it looks darker from where I'm looking, but it's a lovely light golden colour there. There is a little bit of sediment floating about in that glass. So yeah, good start. What does it smell like? Okay, definitely smells dry, tannic. There is a slight fruitiness to it as well. Almost like an orangey fruitiness there, mixed with maybe a hint of caramel there too. Bit of oak. Yeah, smelling quite nice actually. So well, let's dive in and see how this differs from Old Rosie, shall we? Cheers, guys. Here's to Henry Weston's and their Cloudy Cider. Cheers. Okay, definitely dry on the aftertaste there. Not so much initially though. Okay. Okay, that's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. Initially, it is actually quite fruity, quite sweet. Then, as it sort of evolves in your mouth, it does turn a lot drier. My mouth, at the moment, is feeling quite nicely dry, to be fair. Though having said that, just on the edges of the tongue, there is a bit of a sweet undertone to it. So in a way, this is kind of nicely balanced between sweet and dry. Despite it saying that it is dry, in fact it says traditionally matured in oak vats for a full and fruity flavour. Definitely do get a fruitiness in there. The oak is subtle. It's not as overpowering as, say, Weston's Vintage. I mean, that's chock full of, like, you know, tannins and oak and everything. This one is definitely a lot more subtle, a lot more subdued, and I would probably say a lot more balanced than, say, their Vintage. It's got a little bit of a kick behind it as well. You can definitely taste that it is 7.5%. I was going to say 7.3, no, 7.5. So yeah, you can definitely tell that it is that strength. But despite that, it's really easy to drink. Yeah, it's got some lovely fruity flavours there. They don't hang around for too long, so you are going to have to, unfortunately, keep on drinking this because, you know, the flavours don't linger around too much. But having said that, you know, the aftertaste, it's nice, a little bit fruity, a little bit dry, and as I've already said, nicely balanced. So, yeah, I think I paid £1.49 for this particular bottle. So, I mean, that's a bargain, isn't it, really? £1.49 for this sort of stuff. You're not going to get that many other places, that's for sure. So, let's go for a final taste before a final verdict, shall we? Yeah. That's not bad at all, to be fair. Do I prefer this or do I prefer Old Rosie? Do you know what? I think for the accessibility of this cider and the fact that it just seems to be a lot more balanced than Old Rosie, because I mean, I'm going to be honest, it's been quite a few years since I've actually had a bottle of Old Rosie, but from what I remember, it was definitely a lot more rougher around the edges. You could definitely, you know, tell it was like a scrumpy style cider, but this one is definitely a lot more accessible, and you know, for people that, you know, sort of like never tried a cider maybe of this strength or of this sort of caliber, it's definitely one that is going to appeal to a lot more people than, say, Old Rosie, which is just gonna completely blow your head off if you've only had stuff like, you know, cider pops or 4%ers and everything. So yeah, definitely a next step forward, and then you never know, you might even go on to Henry Weston's Vintage after that and have your head completely blown off. So with that said, let's get the chalk out and get the board round here for the final verdict. And for Henry Weston's Cloudy Cider, I am going to go and give it a 7 out of 10. And especially if you can get it for that price as well. As I've already said, that is an absolute bargain for this sort of stuff. Some lovely flavours there, and as I've already said, it's going to appeal to quite a lot of people. So yeah, if you do see it, don't hesitate and get yourself a bottle of it, because it is a rather tasty cider. And with that said, that's another episode of the Cider Drink for you guys. I hope you liked it, and as usual, I will be back with another delicious and tasty cider soon. Until then, well, as I've already said, I shall see you soon, and yeah, you never know, it might be one that's even stronger in ABV. Spoilers, it probably is. Take care, guys. Till next time.